keep going, keep going.
I am.
Go.
No.
Oh
The kill fame! Oh my god! Hey everyone, welcome to this meta spotlight. The builds are displayed on screen, detailing each ability used and the accompanying passives. I recommend only bringing gear that you're willing to lose, because this is Albion, you're gonna die. The Quarterstaff's build can change minorly with regard to a Demon Cape, with Frostpeak Deadeye, and resistant potions are mandatory if you want to win. To begin, the goal of this build is to kill one of your opponents quickly while zoning the other opponent away from their partner. There are a lot of different builds and combinations and a ton of variety in Albion PvP. My commentary will be catered to the abilities the enemies are using at the moment. The Quarterstaff goes in on the DPS so that the DPS cannot trade back damage. From here, depending on whether or not the healer uses a cleanse, which he does, it is generally better to hold your silence, which Rambo does, so that he can silence the healer for a very long time. This build is generally called a one-shot build, but you don't always have to burn all of your abilities up front to kill your enemy. In a lot of cases, it's better to hold your abilities and let the enemies panic and think they need to start playing defensively to survive your high damage combo. This allows you to out-rotate their cooldowns and use your big damage abilities after their defensives and they're borderline defenseless. I choose to Respot the Rumberger's main form of damage because it lacks DPS and relies heavily on its E ability to deal damage. After this, the healer is extremely vulnerable because there is little to no pressure from his partner, which allows us to focus the healer down until he dies. As the Permafrost, it's important to note that you never stack Morgana Cape with Scholar Robe and that it is better to use them separately so that you can hold a high DPS for an extended amount of time. Here my Quarterstaff's Fort Sterling Cape is taken for free, so my Quarterstaff uses against them and baits and engage. This gets the enemy quarter comp to use Night Helmet early, to set up for a more powerful quarter E later. The Permafrost needs to stay well positioned away from the enemy quarter comp so that he does not get caught. It's better when you force your enemy to engage onto the Quarterstaff. This is because the Quarterstaff is CC for shorter duration and the Permafrost can peel for his partner with his Permafrost E. It is critical to use resistant potions to high efficiency in another Quarterstaff comp fight, because not only will it reduce damage, but it stops the majority of incoming crowd control. At this point in the fight, we've outshredded the enemy quarter comp so well that we can just run them down and finish them off. This fight was a good example of how powerful Frostpeak Deadeye is against other high CC composition. Here the fight begins with the healer's DPS overextending, which forces him to start with Clerical. The Permafrost continues to rain Q damage because this keeps up his aggressive caster passive. Once the bow has used all of his defensive abilities, it is time to reset the fight. This allows us to out-rotate the enemy's defensive cooldowns, because my offensive cooldowns will be up before theirs. The enemies choose to chase us without any defensive abilities available, and lose the fight because they have no way to mitigate any of the Permafrost's high sustainable DPS. Quarterstaff locks them down, they die. This next fight begins with a pre-stack Claymore immediately uses E ability toward me. This is an easy eye for him to stop all of his damage because I'm just better. From here I continue to spam damage on the Claymore, while my Quarterstaff prevents the healer from healing his DPS. The Claymore continues to play overly aggressive and dies because he did not respect my second cast speed buff from my Permafrost E and Morgana Cape. I'm going to commentate this last clip before I bust out the super mega cringe Albion 2v2 PvP montage. Make sure to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the video thus far. My Quarterstaff starts the fight by stunning, rooting, and silencing the enemy Tomb Hammer. I show up just in time to interrupt the Blazing E ability, which is huge in value. At this point in the fight, it's hard for the enemy comp to trade back damage without the Blazing's main form of damage, and so they choose to try to outrun a Quarterstaff, which they find isn't really possible with their current abilities. The fight is decided at this point, and it's clear that they will not escape once the Quarterstaff circumvents the wind wall and the Permafrost blinks across it. They now die a slow, meaningless death, and we collect their loot. Wait. Did you really think you would get to watch a montage without me whining for you to describe to me? Well, you are wrong. Anyways, make sure to follow my Twitch and subscribe to my YouTube. If you don't want to end up looking like that fight that absolutely went perfectly and you played it no better than anyone else could. Anyways, shout out to Humper. I love Humper. He's one of the best content creators for Albion Online. There's a link to his channel below. Check him out.
You see, a lunatic now get like me. There's a rap by the count of 3, and it's all being filmed on Shock TV. Yeah, it's me, I'ma do my best to rip to your chest. Make got your respect. I just slaughter, don't be bothered. Watch where you stepping, might be hot water. You oughta pay me now, cause right now it's about to go down. You die, I get paid. More cash, I'm out of this game. It's crazy, I get more money by killing these dudes now, ain't that funny? You die, I get paid. More cash, I'm out of this game. It's crazy, I get more money by killing these dudes now, ain't that funny? Jack, he's a psychomaniac, that's right. It's death on sight. It don't matter who's wrong or right. I just might catch you slipping. Getting paid is my intuition and my ambition. It's the weather city of the siege. More death, more cheese. Gotta get the paper, meet Jamaica. And these boss, I'm the undertaker. And ain't no shortage, I can't be laid off. In fact, rest in chaos. I get paid. More cash, I'm out of this game. It's crazy, I get more money by killing these dudes now, ain't that funny? I get paid. More cash, I'm out of this game. It's crazy, I get more money by killing these dudes now, ain't that funny? Look around, tell me what do you see? A lunatic now, get like me. It's a rap by the count of 3, and it's all being filmed on Shock TV. Yeah, it's me, I'ma do my best to rip to your chest, mangle your flesh, dangle your neck, fatten my check. I don't really care if I got your respect. I just slaughter, don't be bothered. Watch where you step, it might be hot water. You oughta pay me now, cause right now it's about to go down.